Good morning, Redwood Rainbows. Happy Monday to you. I am here with a great nonfiction book. Welcome to the world of animals, Otters. The author is Diane Swanson. Otters are oodles of energy bundled in fur. Although they swim and hunt for food each day, they have plenty of pep left for play. North America has two kinds of otters, river otters and sea otters. River otters weigh up to 30 pounds. Sea otters weigh 2 to 3 times more than river otters. Many sea otters are as big as large dogs. Even the heaviest otters do not have much fat to protect them from the cold water. So both river otters and sea otters have thick coats of brownish-colored fur to keep them warm. To help them swim, otters have short legs and webbed feet. The sea otter's back feet are so long that they look like floppy flippers. Special tails help make otters strong swimmers. The sea otter's wide, flat tail, however, looks nothing like the river otter's thick, rope-like tail. Special flaps of skin also help river and sea otters underwater by keeping their ears dry. Young otters are called pups. Until it is a few months old, a river otter pup lives only with its mother. Then its father joins the family, and the otters travel and hunt together for about a year. A sea otter pup lives only with its mother, never with its father. Mother and pup get together with other moms and pups, often forming groups of up to 30 otters. When sea otter pups are about 8 months old, almost fully grown, they usually go off on their own. An otter in water is always right at home. Sea otters spend their lives in the sea, although close to shore. Now and then they clamber out onto rocks, but they are awkward on land. Many never leave the water at all. Sea otters even sleep in the water. They float on their backs, often anchored in tall seaweed called kelp. 2 or more sea otters will sometimes hold paws while they sleep. River otters spend a lot of time in rivers and lakes and in water along seashores. Although they are more graceful in water, they move well and fast on land. Over short distances, they can even outrun people. River otters always sleep on land, usually wrapped around each other, in dens, under rocks, beneath tree roots, or inside hollow logs. In water and on land, river otters are great travelers. They cover about 60 miles of waterways each year. In winter, they often travel between waterways by sliding on ice and snow. Sometimes they tunnel through deep snow to stay out of sight. River otters once lived all over North America. Today they mainly live in Canada and Alaska, mostly along the Pacific coast. Different kinds of river otters live on most of the other continents. Sea otters once lived all over the North Pacific Ocean. Today, there are not as many sea otters as there used to be, and most of them live along the Pacific coast of North America. Otters need a lot of food. Food is fuel that keeps them warm and active. Each day, a sea otter eats 1/4 of its own weight in food. It munches on seaweed, but mostly it eats small sea animals, such as crabs, clams, and red sea urchins. Sea otters sometimes eat so many red sea urchins that their teeth and bones turn pink. A sea otter dives for its dinner and snatches food with its front paws. Sometimes it tucks the food into pouches of skin under its arms, grabs a small rock, and swims to the surface. The otter can crack crab shells with its teeth, but it needs the rock to break open clams and sea urchins. Floating on its back with the rock on its chest, it holds a clam in its front paws and smashes it onto the rock. All through dinner, the sea otter cleans itself by rolling over in the water to wash away food scraps. After dinner, it scrubs itself thoroughly. A river otter often eats berries and roots, but mostly it hunts animals for food. It digs in muddy river bottoms with its nose and front feet to find crayfish, salamanders, and frogs. It dives into the water without a splash to swim after fish. Sometimes it breaks beaver dams and grabs fish and even young beavers as the water level drops. In winter, river otters hunt beneath the ice that forms over the water. A river otter feasts several times a day, gobbling up snacks right in the water, but dining out for bigger meals. When something needs to be said, an otter has to say it, and usually does. A river otter snorts to warn other otters of danger. It hums to say, "I'm mad," humming louder and higher the madder it gets. When it gets very angry or very scared, the otter hisses. Sometimes it even screams. When a river otter feels comfortable, it grunts like a pig or chuckles softly with other otters. It can also chirp like a bird. It chirps to make long-distance calls to other otters. On land or in water, otters like to stay in touch. A sea otter screams wildly when something threatens it. If the otter gets cornered, it snarls and barks like a dog to say, "Go away, now!" When a mother sea otter dives for dinner, her pup usually has something to say about it. Left floating alone, the pup whines and makes high-pitched screaming cries that are so loud they can be heard very far away. "Come back! I'm hungry and frightened," it squeals. A sea otter pup has to be loud, or its mother will not be able to hear its cries over the crashing of the ocean's waves. A mother sea otter usually responds to her pup right away. When she comes back, she cradles the pup high on her chest and coos softly to soothe it. A mother otter's coos turn to grunts when she starts eating, but the contented sounds of her feeding soothe the pup too. Otter pups are born wearing their fur coats. Sea otter pups even have their eyes open. They are perky little pups, usually born in water beds of kelp, one pup to a mom. Although it lives in the water, a sea otter pup cannot swim right away, so it rides on its mother's chest, snuggling, sleeping, stretching, and feeding while she floats on her back. The pup's mother cleans and dries it again and again, cooing all the time. When eagles, killer whales, or people threaten her newborn, she grabs the pup with her front paws and dives underwater. River otters are born on land, often in underground dens dug by other animals. Otters are not good diggers. Most otter dens have openings to let in fresh air and the otters. Many dens also have underwater openings in the banks of streams or lakes. A tunnel leads from the underwater entrance to a dry nesting room inside the den. River otter pups are born in this room on a blanket of leaves, grass, and moss. Often, 2 or 3 pups are born at the same time. Unlike sea otter pups, newborn river otters do not have their eyes open. In fact, they are not able to see for several weeks. These pups stay inside the den with their mother. She feeds and cleans them and keeps them safe at home for about 3 months. She also fights off any animal that tries to enter the den, even the pup's father. Young otters have a lot to learn. They take lessons in swimming, diving, fishing, and hunting. River otter pups start learning as soon as they leave their dens. They are usually afraid of water at first, so a mother otter often leads her pups holding on to her as she swims. Sometimes, however, she forces them to swim by tossing them into the water or diving with them on her back. After a few days, the pups are good swimmers, on their backs, tummies, or sides. When their father joins them, the whole family swims together. They swim in a line, one behind the other, dipping and rising in the water. Some people have mistaken a swimming otter family for a long snake-like monster. Both parents teach a river otter pup to find its dinner. They show it how to nose out food from muddy river bottoms. They train it to charge after the fish and trap it among the rocks. All the while, they protect the pup from attacks by eagles, coyotes, and even big fish. Sea otter pups start their lessons when they are about 4 weeks old. A sea otter mother leaves her pup floating while she hunts for food. At first, the pup just peeks underwater to watch its mother dive and swim. Then it tries harder and harder to follow her. Soon, the pup can dive and swim too, and off it goes, exploring with its mom. It learns how to find food and practices cracking open clams and sea urchins with rocks. Otters have fun just being otters. It is so easy for them to find food that they have plenty of time left to play. Just like human children, river otters like to go sliding. They slide on snow or mud, and they slide down riverbanks on their tummies, splashing into the water at the bottom. River otters play hide and seek too. While one otter dives into the snow and tunnels underneath, another one pokes its nose here and there in the snow, looking for the first otter. Sometimes the otter that is hiding pokes its head out, squeals, and hides again. If it is caught, the two otters usually play fight. River otters also play with toys. They juggle sticks or pebbles with their front paws, or balance these toys on their noses. Sometimes a river otter will hide a fish in the grass, just as if it were hiding a toy. Another otter will use its super sense of smell to sniff out the fish. Then it hides the fish for the next otter. Sea otters have toys too. They push or climb on pieces of floating wood and use their front paws to toss and catch seaweed and shells. Sea otter pups tumble and roll with each other or with their mothers. Sometimes they jump right out of the water together. As they play, the otters often nibble on each other's ears and feet. Playing helps keep both river and sea otters strong, healthy, and ready to hunt. But it's also just plain fun. And that is the end of our otter book. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a long one, almost 15 minutes. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye, guys.